Whoop. Say hi, Lindsay.
Hi, guys.
Well, that was very
Anticlimactic.
Yeah, I was kind of like,
Let me try again. Hi, guys.
There we go. We got her snorting right off the bat. Yes. So, how's Lindsay today?
Lindsay's had a very interesting day. The weather here in merry old Texas has been Texasing, which means that we had humid earlier today, hot and humid as we walked out the door to get my kids on the bus, and then it promptly got cold, and now it's trying to rain, and we need to gather 2 of every animal, and my power went out, and that's what's happening today.
I won't tell you that it's about 75, sunny, a gorgeous day here in North Carolina. So, and I have not been away from my desk since 7 o'clock this morning. So, and when we're done, I've got my other thing, so I won't see the day at all. So you can hate me, but I haven't been able to enjoy it at all. So we're still syncing everything up. Oh, the comments have already started. Hey, country, how you doing, buddy? Steve's on, country's on, Michael Yater's on. Where's my boy Curtis? I know where Curtis is. Steve, how you doing, buddy? So, let's let everything catch right back up. So I did something funny on TikTok that Lindsay can't see yet.
Oh, did you?
Yes, I did. See, watch. If I put this up, can you got to look out on your phone. So everybody out everywhere else, there's no idea what I'm talking about. But on TikTok, because they have the little goofy gifts you can give, I said every hat and mustache gifted gets a yeehaw from Lindsay. So I was waiting. I'm leaving it up on TikTok so she can see it. Tim, thanks for the heart. Smartass is on. He's already sent roses. So, yeah. And then I also did. Wait. Well, that's our image. Hold on. There's my other one. Show us some love. Heart bomb time. Maggie's on. Hey, so there's our first hot and mustache. Go, Lindsay.
Yeehaw!
There it is. All right. Getting back to the Steve said I've come. It's open mic today. So what do you guys want to talk about? It's up to you. Steve's already starting. He's got a good one. He says, I'm starting a deep dive on single Sigma males. So am I, my friend. I am going to be doing a video on it because I am one. So for those that don't know the difference between a Sigma and an Alpha, a Sigma is an alpha that doesn't give a shit. That's basically what it is. And that's me. We don't care about being in charge. We don't need to be the leaders, and yet we usually end up being them. So, Lindsay, you're a Sigma too, I think.
I think so. I always end up in charge. I don't always necessarily want to be in charge, and I really don't give 2 shits about the hierarchy. I really don't.
Neither do I. That's the funny part. And it's, it's weird because, and I'm sure this happens to you, whenever I get involved in groups, whatever they might be, whether it's sports, things like what we do, all that stuff, inevitably I become one of the leaders. And I don't even try. I don't know what it is. I played football for years, and I was captain on most teams, and, I hated it because not that I mind doing some of the stuff, but there is extra pressure. And sometimes I just want to be there and doing whatever. Right.
So I have a slightly different problem. I am female, and females don't necessarily operate on levels of competency. They operate on personality and popularity.
No, you mean the Mean Girls movie is true?
Shocking, I know, right?
A documentary, not a work of fiction.
Art imitates life. But I almost never start out in charge. But the problem is I'm competent. So I may not start out in charge, but once the Mean Girls have realized that they have no freaking clue what they're doing, and they're just busy doing, I usually stand up and go, okay, I'm tired of this. This is what we're doing. You do this, you do that, you do this, I do this. Shut up. And we get it done. And then I get yelled at, "Oh my God, why did you have to do it that way? Like, you didn't have to be so rude." As that wasn't rude, that was direct. They're two different things.
So you become a boss bitch and then they hate you for it.
And it's not even like, it's just, look, we don't need to have a committee meeting for everything. We don't need to have take a vote on these are the things that we need to do, and we all take a vote on, well, I don't feel good about this. I don't care how you feel. Just do it, Susan.
You're bringing me back to my corporate days when I'd sit, with all the C-suite others. And it was, a couple of the companies, it was more male than female, but a lot of them, it was pretty evenly split. Might be 60-40, something like that. And the guys would be like, we're going to do this, 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 and this. And, the head of HR in every case was a female. Well, we got to worry about blah, blah, blah. No, we don't. No, we don't. If they don't like it, they can leave. Sorry. I remember one CEO, COO. His name was Jeff. So we're having this meeting. I love Jeff, man. And it was a serious topic, but not too serious. But anyway, the head HR is like, blah, 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 blah for 20 minutes. Jeff let her go. I'll give him credit. He let her go for 20 minutes. And then he turned and looked at her and said, no, this is the way it's going to be. And she broke down in tears. And I'm like, he's the COO. He gets to decide. I didn't actually agree with what his decision was. I thought we should have gone a different direction. But I was just the CTO. What do I matter? It's just funny how that all works.
Well, a lot of the time, it's also just the indecision drives me absolute batty. It's like, I don't care if it's the best decision. I don't care if it's the right decision. I just need us to move forward. We can correct course, but we have to get out of the marina first before we can correct course. We have to get off the ground.
Without steering the ship into the rocks, though.
Yeah, true. But
so, yeah, guys, it's open mic. Jump in on any questions, comments. For those of you that are regulars, we all know who you are. Steve, Maggie, Country. I saw Houston Duck on, a bunch of them over on TikTok. Smartass is going crazy already. So, yeah, we want to talk about what you want to talk about today. So, Lindsay, you were the one that kind of said we should go this route. Why?
Because I'm the problem, obviously.
I was going to let you. I was letting you be the leader. You missed your cue there.
Sorry, but I've been trolling this week because my kids have all been sick, and so I've been off social media, I guess, more than not posting as much, but lurking. I lurk. And I've been seeing a lot of chatter on different things going off around the various interwebs, not necessarily only in male-oriented spaces, but just in general. Because I do occasionally lurk in feminist posts because they give me all the best
ammo.
And I've been hearing and seeing and reading comments about a variety of different topics, and I thought that it might be best to kind of get a feel of what y'all want to talk about.
So you're going to hear from Molly because I actually can see the squirrel out of the corner of my eye sitting there taunting her.
I thought you could see the squirrel in front of you.
Well, that one too, but then there's the bushy-tailed one over there.
I don't have a bushy-tailed.
No, not that family show. Oh, Smartass. Oh, wait. No, hold on. Smartass said the wrong answer, though. Me wants to know Texas or Georgia barbecue. I know what Lindsay's answer is going to be.
Texas. Always.
Smartass said Georgia. You're all wrong. North Carolina.
We'll agree to disagree. We might have actually found something Dan and I do not agree
on. Mustard barbecue sauce. That's all I'm going to say. And I actually made one this weekend. I tried a new recipe. I can't get enough of it. I even put it on my mac and cheese the other night. It's that good. I'll have to send it to you so you can have some real barbecue, Lindsay. Wow. Right down the middle of the plate. She didn't even swing.
I can't. It's a family-friendly show. You told me to be good.
That's a good question, though. So, yeah, ask us. Oh, no. No, I'm not asking her that question on TikTok, me. Um, did you see it?
I saw it.
Yeah, let
I
it go.
did.
Let it go.
Let it go.
Let it go. Let it go. Let it go. Oh, are you watching the new Disney movie?
Which one?
The one that's bombing Snow White?
No, but have you seen the movie, not the movie, the music they made? They put
No.
comments. They put
Oh,
comments
I saw
to
that.
music.
Yeah, that was on YouTube. The feminist, I don't know, what do you want to call it? Something movie bombing. Like bombing.
I think my favorite comment is this was a free show on a plane, I would still walk out.
The best one that I liked was I hope the poisoned apple wins.
I haven't gone to see it. I won't be going to see it.
Ooh.
My family and I just recently watched the second Moana movie because it came to Disney Plus. We weren't going to pay in a theater to go see it, and it was horrible.
Wait, you pay for Disney Plus?
We share an account with the rest of our family, so
I'm supposed to do that. I don't
um,
even have that, and I never will have it. I mean, if I got it for free, I might do it,
but mostly use it for the kids to watch all the old shows because, of course, DVD players don't last very long in our house anymore.
That's so 1990s anyway.
Well, we were cleaning up the garage last weekend, and I pulled out a VHS, and my children go, "What's that? Mommy, why do you have a brick? Is that a book?"
I'm
No.
gonna have to send you a 5 1/4 floppy disk. You can blow their minds because I still have a few of those lying around.
Oh, I have some in a cabinet that I got from my parents.
I have ones that because I have workouts that I did and designed on my Commodore 64 way back in the early 80s that I still use with my clients. Sometimes I remember certain things and I'm like, I gotta go find that one. So every once in a while I pull them out and it's kind of cool. It takes like 2 hours for the computer I have to boot up. But it's there. So
Steve had a question. He said, "Did I ever see the Red Pill documentary by Cassie J?" Yes, I've seen it.
I have reached out to her, by the way.
Have you?
She has not replied. You're going to hear the dog bark. She's all hyped up, right? That squirrel is tormenting her. Yes, I have reached out to her. She has not replied. So I'm going to put it on you. Maybe you can get her because I think we should have her on the show with us.
I think that would be nice. Yes, I did see it. I watched it when it first came out. When I was already getting into all of this, but it's one of the things that I watched that made me realize that the counseling that I was doing for male victims of SA and R and DV had some other things going on with them, and that's how I kind of that documentary is kind of how I got the stepping stone into fathers' rights, not just men's issues.
That's actually happened to a lot of people, men and women. And I've tried to get politicians to watch it. And I'll say to them, look, just watch it. Don't have any preconceived notions. Just watch it. And they usually don't. But I have had a few that have, and they're like, really? You know, some of them won't want to believe it, of course. But a lot of them are like, wow, okay. So it's a fantastic movie. Feminists hate it, which tells you how good it is. And I encourage, if you have not seen it, I encourage you to watch it. There's things in there, by the way, I don't agree with, but that's okay, right? It's she's sharing her story as much as anything else, and talking about how it affected her. And you know, you think back. I'm trying to remember the woman's name that wrote the book and ended up unaliving herself back in.
Nora Vincent.
Yes.
Self-made man.
Yeah, if you go and read that book now, knowing what she did in the long run, which I want to reread it. I have it. I bought it way back when. I want to reread it because I think it's kind of poignant right now. Because one of the things that I'm seeing, and we've talked about it off and on, I'm starting to see more and more women stepping up, going, "Wait a minute, I don't like what's going on to the men." You know, I'm seeing it more and more. My inbox on my email, I've had over the last month easily 3 to 4 a week reaching out to me. I don't know if it's because of my videos, your videos, this show, whatever, but it's a noticeable change. And I think it's important that, I go back and look at that movie, or, the Red Pill, and that book again, because I think it will give me some insight to how to work with them and bring them further along. And I refer to them to these books, that book and movie.
Well, not only that, but Cassie J's documentary, The Red Pill, back before the Red Pill term got co-opted by men like Tate and our friend Pearl, back when it was first a phenomenon rather than a movement, is she went into the doing that documentary trying to prove something with a preconceived notion, and then as she got evidence, her mind changed.
Yes, that's
And
my point.
people ask me, why do you spend so much time arguing with feminists? Why do you even bother? And I always refer them back to Cassie J and the Red Pill. It's like, that's why, because her mind was changed. And not only was her mind changed, but she ended up writing one of the cornerstones of our modern, it's not a founding document because it's not a document, but the same sort of thing with the fathers' rights movement. Because before that video came out, before that documentary, it was there, but it wasn't all compiled into an easily digestible source. And she revolutionized. She didn't set out to do that, but that's what she did. She canonized a lot of the fathers' rights movement into something that's a little bit more cohesive rather than this spread out that we had prior to that. And so when people ask me, well, why do you bother arguing with feminists? Their minds can't be changed. And it's like, and that right there is why we haven't gotten that far, because the minute we believe that the battle is lost, and we just shouldn't bother trying to change the other side's mind, that's when we've already lost. And if she could change her mind, and she was a dyed-in-the-wool feminist,
Yes, she was.
She could change her mind and completely flip, then the battle is still winnable.
And that's the conversation I want to have with her, is to share more about her experience. I mean, she talks about it in the movie. I've read some things she's written about it, but really share with the audience. Like, I would love to ask her, what was that moment when you went, holy shit, right? And really, really had your eyes open. Because again, I'm like you, I'm trying to use that as a means to create dialogue. A lot of my videos, people say to me, you're always talking to the women in your videos. I had somebody say that to me recently. You're trying to change their mind. Yeah. I mean, it's entertaining for the guys too. Let's not kid ourselves. And I'm trying to educate the younger guys on the realities of life. But part of what I do is trying to say to the women, hey, take a little accountability and open your eyes, and things will actually be better for you. And we catch some flack for that. I know you do as well. But like I said a little while ago, I'm starting to see more and more of a change. I'm just hoping it's a little tiny snowball right now. It'll really turn into an avalanche.
Our friend Sarah Eaton had a question. She says,
Hey, Sarah, I missed that.
What are our thoughts on all the accounts of women pretending to be about men's mental health? Oh, dear.
Oh, boy. Without naming names.
They're the same brand, the exact same side of the coin as the male feminists. They validate men's anger to stir the pot, and they want to keep men bitter. They don't want them to heal. And I understand bitterness, but you can only hold on to the bitterness for so long. Eventually that bitterness becomes a poison. And if you hold on to it too long, you end up poisoning yourself. By all means, it is a justified feeling in many cases, but at some point it is no longer a beneficial feeling. And a lot of the women who claim to be about men's mental health, they want to keep them bitter by validating all the negative feelings, because as long as they continue to have those negative feelings, they're still in a job. Because if you heal, you don't need a therapist anymore. Or the advice they're giving has been so sanitized and is so feminized that it's not helpful. You're basically, I see a lot of women who are trying to give advice and therapy to men as though the men are women. And I just have to sit there and say, this isn't work. That no, you can't do that. Well, it works for me. Good. It works for you. You do not have balls between your legs, so it may not work for men. Well, I don't understand why it can't work for men, because their brain chemistry is different than ours. And
Yes,
when you
literally,
state that,
yes.
literally, and I was like, they're like, well, men and women are the same. Said, no, we're not the same. Our bones are different. Our muscular is different. You can dig up our skeletons from 1,000 years from now, and there will be biological differences. Not only that, but if you look at brain scans of a healthy male and a healthy woman, our brains are different. Our brain chemistry is different. You cannot treat men like they're women, and you cannot treat women like they're men. And trying to give therapy advice or mental health advice to men as though they are women, in many cases, does more harm than good. It's almost better to not give them any advice than to give them detrimental advice.
And that's exactly what's going on with the mental health profession. Forget creators. I'm talking about, therapists and all that, is because right now, roughly 3/4 of all therapists are female, and under 30 and in college, it's 90% female. Counsel men as if they're women, and it's not working. And that's a problem. I mean, I'm not even going into the whole, their agenda and all that crap, because that's a big problem also. I'm talking even the ones who are genuine, because I have a lot reaching out to me, and I've got a girl that I haven't talked to her in a while, but she was doing her dissertation, and she reached out to me to ask me a bunch of questions to use in that. And one of the things I was saying to her that I hear from men all the time is they go to therapists and they're treated like they're women, and it's an immediate turnoff to a guy. Right? We don't talk face to face. We're not here to tell me how it makes you feel. If I heard that question from a therapist, I'm out the door. Right? Doesn't mean it's not a valid question, but if you're going to ask it that way, the guy's just going to wall right off. Right? Men need to talk shoulder. The common phrase is shoulder to shoulder, not face to face. It's different than women, and that's a big problem, because the profession of therapy, mental health profession, psychotherapy, whatever you want to call it, is not doing the job right. And the worst part is they don't even want to talk about it.
Which is
we're right, you're wrong.
It's incredibly ironic. Well, and it's also kind of sad, because I will use this as an example of women ruin everything, and women get mad at me. They're like, "What do you mean ruin everything?" I was like, "Well, psychology, when it was first founded, the idea of therapy like this, which is relatively new in human history,
Very new.
But it was begun after the soldiers in World War I came back. That's where it started about 100 years ago. Yeah. And it was originally for men, by men, and it was helpful. It was all the things that it should be, because we had men coming back with what they called shell shock at the time, but it's PTSD. And then women decided they wanted to be into the field, and they crawled their way in inch by inch, demanded that we be allowed in. And once they got in there, like, we're here and we're going to change everything.
They did the same thing to therapy that they did to education, is they made it all about women and left the guys in the dust. And now they're upset when you even bring it up, and the sad part is there are hundreds of thousands, probably millions of guys who were over in the deserts and fought for our country. There's, all over, and there's women too, don't get me wrong, but it's predominantly men that are suffering. And, I live not far from Fayetteville, North Carolina. I hear from the guys that are on base there, and those guys have been overseas and they have fought, and they are going through some horrific things now, years later. And they're telling me they really rag on the VA, and I am by no means an expert on that. A lot of them tell me the VA is useless. I've had some say it's good, so I guess it's hit and miss. But
it is hit and miss. We have a VA hospital here, here in Military City, but
even them, Lindsay, I've had them say this. They treat me like I'm a girl. This is a while back, and that's what I'm talking about, right? And how do you tell a guy who's done 3 tours in Iraq, say, and you start talking, tell me how it makes you feel? He just, they're not going to listen.
And even the good therapists, the ones who actually do care, rebel when you say, have you tried something else?
Mm-hmm.
Because they'll I have a friend, or not a friend, a neighbor who lives up the street. She's a therapist, and she works at a hospital, but she also goes and volunteers at the VA. And she's like, I see all these guys come in, and even after we've been working with the same guy for months, he's still not any better. And I'm like, okay, well, what are you doing? And she'll tell me these list of things. I'm like, you're doing it wrong. She goes, what? I said, all of those things are great if you're talking to a woman. They're not going to get through to a guy. You cannot treat guys. You can especially not treat guys with PTSD and that have gone through battle and seen it, their friends unalive or stepped on mines. You cannot treat them like they're a fragile little pretty princess wrapped up in cotton wool. And
It's the worst thing you can do.
That's the worst thing you can do, because that is so emasculating. Because you've othered them, and that's the exact thing, is they already feel othered, and now you've othered them further. So they started out, this is where they needed to be, this is where they were, and because of you, now they're over here. And I swear to God, her eyes crossed. She goes, well, what do you mean? And she is one of the good ones. She doesn't want to hurt her patients. I referred to her to Paul Elam's works, and then also The Boy Crisis for her to read.
But again, a lot of that is because that's the way they're being.
But that's the way that they're being taught.
And that's the fault. There is not her by any means. She doesn't know any better, right? If she's going through, depending on what level you're going, 4, 6, or 7 years of schooling, and you're being drilled through all of them to, this is how you treat someone, and it's, something that would be phenomenal for a woman, but detrimental to a man, they're going to come out and they're going to do what they think is right and end up hurting their patients. And that's what we're seeing, right, across all of mental health right now. And it's not just in the US, it's worldwide. And the resistance to even having a discussion about it. As I've reached out to some shrinks, I call them shrinks, about coming on my shows and talking about it. And they're very hesitant, mostly because they know the backlash they're going to get. I've had some on, but they really don't want to talk about it because they know the backlash they're going to get. They'll have their licenses pulled if they go too far. And how sad is that? And I've had them tell me that. I can't talk about it because I'll lose my license. They'll report me. How sad is that? All right, we're about a half hour in. Hold on, I got to get my cool new thingy up. Whoop, I did the wrong one again. Damn it. There it is. Show us some love. Heart bombs across the board. Give us a like. If you're not following, give us a follow. All that stuff. All right, we're gonna not to change the subject because that's a good one, but let me jump to something else because we got a bunch of stuff that's come in. Angel said, do you remember the days when we used to have DOS prompts on computers? I was the DOS king back in the day. I still remember it. I'm very, very good at it, and I can use it to hack your computer, so you better be nice. Matthew asked, Matthew, how you doing, buddy? It's been a while since we've seen you. I think you said that earlier. He wants to know, how do I avoid women that demand princess treatment and find ones that value mutual effort? Lindsay, you're one of the good ones. Go.
Don't put up with it.
Bingo. I need a little bell. I'm going to get one of those sound card things so I can hit the thing. Go ahead. Keep going.
If you're on a date with someone, and I don't care how pretty she is, I don't care how much she fills out that blouse, if she's acting like she's a pretty, pretty princess and she's not worth it, don't put up with it. Don't give her a second date. Don't swipe left. Don't do any of that stuff. Say, okay, thank you for your time, ma'am. Have a nice day, and walk away. Because if you tolerate it, she will continue to do it because she thinks that that's okay. And it's just like economy. The price will be what whatever the market can bear. If people refuse to pay that price, the price will either lower or it won't. But if you continue to allow women who aren't worth your time to get your time, they're going to keep wasting your time. So just say thank you, but no, and walk away.
I got a whole video coming out on soon where I give tips to men, and one of them directly addresses that. I'm not going to give it away. You're going to have to go watch the video. So Lindsay's answer spot on. My answer, go watch my video when it comes out, probably Saturday or Sunday, because it's good to tease, right?
Someone said, me, which is my friend Michael, is saying, we keep feeding bad fits for fear of never finding a fit, and it inflates the dating pool value. Yes, that is true.
That's a very good way of putting it.
It's
yes.
a very good way of putting it.
Yes, I couldn't agree more. Smart ass. First of all, roar, because he sent me a tiny. What's his name there? Leo and Thing are up on the wall behind me now. I'm going to be redoing my feng shui again soon. So, nobody's asked about the stuffed animals in about a month. I'm a little disappointed because they had their own little cult going for a while. So I took them off for a while. And nobody's mentioned it. So, because if you look over this shoulder, normally they're sitting above that pillow. So I guess they've kind of faded into the sunset.
I have received more squirrel memes. Mr. Squirrely will send me a one that he's found, and he's like, "Did you see the ones? I've seen it." What do you mean you've seen it? Not only have I seen it, my love, I've seen it 86 times.
Yeah, I know. We tend to get the same things over and over again. All right, another one. Vladimir. This is a good one. Do you know of any instances where a man opened up to a woman without it being used against him?
Personally, yes, but I've never seen it outside my own marriage.
I have. I absolutely can do that with my wife. I could do it with my second wife. That's why I married them. But I have seen instances. And, another example from my own is my best friend happened with me right now. But she's another one. I can open up to Lindsay and say anything, and I don't have to fear it. My other friend, Katie, absolutely can open up to her. I say things to her that nobody else knows, not even Lindsay, not even my wife. Okay. So there are instances, but I also understand that you got to build that trust before you really can. And that's why I always say to guys, and they naturally kind of do it, but give them little tests. Give them something, just a little juicy tidbit, and watch what happens. Watch to see if it's on social media. Watch to see if her friends suddenly know about it or her family. And then keep ratcheting that up until you can trust her. But yes, it does happen.
And this is not the same kind of test that the stupid relationship test that the women do.
No, it's not the hand of an orange test. No.
It's a true test, and this is not necessarily something that you would do just in a relationship, a romantic one. You could do it with your friends too. Like, I have different tiers of friendship. There's some that I trust, implicitly, that I could tell my deepest, darkest secrets to, and I know that it will never, ever go anywhere other than them. And then there's people that I only trust on a surface level because I know that anything I do tell them will be told to half the neighborhood. So that is a very realistic way of testing trust that is not just limited to your romantic relationships as well. And because I know that plenty of women will be like, why don't you just trust me because we're in a romantic relationship? And I'm like, what have you done to earn it?
You know what my response would be? All right, I need 3 references from prior boyfriends so I can ask them if you can be trusted. They'll never give it to you. Because they know. Women know what they do. Come on. They're not stupid. Women are very intelligent.
And that's one of the things that baffles me is that they, especially with me, because men know women aren't stupid, but I am also female, and I know for a fact that women are not stupid. And they act stupid. They'll try and tell me, we don't do that. Really? You don't? Because I do occasionally. Like I don't do it to the level that you do it, but I do catch myself thinking along those lines sometimes. So you want to tell me that women don't do it? I am a woman, and then they always come back with, "No, you're not." The number of times I have been
Really?
accused.
Which again, that tells you how unsafe they are to talk to because you're sharing a thought or feeling, right? And their response is to call you, say you're not a man. That's exactly why you can't open up to a woman. That's what they don't get. They're clueless on as intelligent as women are. And I believe they actually know they do it, but they live in their little denial bubbles. And I mean, you ask any woman, have you ever had to face the wrath of other women, especially a group of them? I have yet to meet a woman that hasn't.
Women are mean to other women. We are vindictive as
They're
hell. It
vicious
is
to other
our
women.
worst trait, our vindictiveness, and we are our own worst enemies. Um, and I know that we talked about this a little bit on the last show with our friend Sarah, is that 99% of the truly awful comments, and I'm not just talking about rude comments, I'm talking about the visceral attacks, the attacks on my gender, the attacks on my motherhood, my marriage, my personal safety. All of those come from women. They don't come from men. My life has never been threatened. I have never had a man tell me, I hope you unalive, or I hope you get hit by a car, or I hope that you're in the place that the next pew pew shooting happens. I have had women tell me all those things. And I also love language. I'm a wordsmith by trade. So I know how men and women talk. I have had women try to pose as men.
Oh yeah.
That happens a lot. And I'm like,
Oh
no,
God. If
baby.
people ever I caught one about a week ago, right? It was last Thursday because it was the day after our last show. And I figured out fast it was a woman posing as a man. And this was through DMs. And I'm like, honey, you ain't no guy. Yes, I am. The whole spiel, right? And I finally said, men don't talk like that. We don't say those things. And needless to say, she got really pissed and blocked me eventually. But it's like that happens way more than people realize. You will see, and I know for a fact there are Discord servers and private groups dedicated to this stuff where they will purposely pose make men look bad.
Now
And
I
some
have
of these have 50 accounts, 25 to 50 accounts. So they'll put a post up as a guy and then go in as one of their other accounts, which is a woman, and say, well, that's not true. And then the guy responds and create these whole dialogues. By the way, you see the same thing on the news things. All right. There are people that are paid to post and stir things up. And you'll see, just go and look at how many friends they have. They got less than 100 friends on Facebook or Insta or any of them. Odds are they're quote unquote bot accounts. They're actually people. Is she done?
my children just walked in like the herd of elephants that they are.
Well, they're every right to do that.
But I get accused of being a not a real supporter of men all the time because of these women, or I get accused of not being a real woman because I align with men, and it's both frustrating because in the same thread on Facebook, I'm being accused of not being a woman, of being secretly a man, and I'm also being accused of not being or being one of those chameleons, a woman who comes into men's spaces, claims to care about men, and then does horrible things. And to those guys, there's one guy who has posted, and every single comment I've ever made on one Facebook group that I follow, he always always comments chameleon. And I always post the same response, which is our latest episode of Boy Meets Squirrel.
Mm-hmm.
And I've gotten to the point where I don't defend myself anymore. I'm like, look, if you want references, I have references, but if not, you either believe me or you don't.
They're not worth your time and
They're
effort.
not worth my
And I'm the
time.
same way, right? I mean, it's fun to go troll hunting every once in a while, just for
Every
the
now
fun,
and then.
but they're going to suck you down into a rabbit hole that's a complete and utter waste of time. I may, occasionally respond, but I don't do a ton of it, and because there's nothing to be gained from it. Now, where I will do it is when I can use that to educate others. And I
Yes.
know you do the same thing. If they make a point that's just complete BS,
So there
or
was a
go ahead.
well, I had a Facebook post that I actually vehemently disliked. Disliked. And actually had this conversation. So it was on the page that I follow, and it had if the man makes enough money, he doesn't do all of these things, or you have failed as a wife. And I said I can make an argument for most of these. The one thing on this list that I do not agree with is parenting, because it showed a man changing a diaper. I was like, I don't care how much money you make. Parents are parents. And if you need to parent, you parent. Because even if he did make a ton of money, he chose to have those children. He is their parent too. And if your child has a wet diaper or needs to be changed or bathed or taken care of, and the mother is indisposed for whatever reason, you're not going to punish the kid.
The dog's cute.
That's Chloe. You're not going to punish the kid because I make too much money for this. If you made too much money to be a parent, don't have kids. And I got hell for it. They're like, well, obviously you think that because you're a woman. And I'm like, dude, I am a stay-at-home wife. I do the job that is being depicted in this meme. And I'm still telling you that if you don't want to parent, don't have kids.
It's part of the job. I've changed, and I always say this to people because I'll have women come at me and go, "You don't even know what it's like to have changed diapers, honey." I had 6 kids. I changed more diapers than you will ever change, ever. And it's like I know how to change diapers. You don't even think about it. You got to do it. If it's wet or whatever, you deal with it. But there's this. That's why that even has to be up for debate is beyond me, because women almost universally believe that men don't know how to change diapers. We don't know how to cook. We would just literally die if women weren't taking care of us. And I'm like, you point out to them, there's literally millions of men living on their own that are more than capable of doing whatever. Well, that doesn't count. Okay.
I read a journal post. It was talking about a mother was getting ready to go on
country. That was good. Sorry. Go ahead. Keep talking.
Mother was getting ready to go on a business trip, and she was getting ready to deputize her 12-year-old daughter to be the mom of the house, to make sure dad did all these things while she was gone.
Oh, hell no. That would never.
And
no.
The woman who was writing the article was talking about the friend that was doing this. And she was like, what the hell? Do you, and I have the same argument. I hear women say, well, I have to make sure that my daughter knows how to this. It's like, how old's your daughter? She's 14. How old's your husband? Oh, he's 40 something. And you don't think he knows how to feed himself, keep the children from unaliving, how the dishwasher works? Like, if he's really that stupid, why'd you marry him? And better yet, why did you procreate with him? Oh, well, he used to know how to do all this stuff, and he still doesn't know. Well, I always do it. You choose to do it. Not that he doesn't know how to do it. He could be perfectly capable of doing it on his own, but you choose to do it.
Or he does it in a way you don't like. So the job still gets done, but it's not your way of doing it. So therefore, it's what's the term they use for it? Weaponized incompetency. I love that one. Well, he put the clothes in the washer and turned the dial to the left instead of the right. That's weaponized incompetency. No, it's not. It's him doing it a different way.
Weaponized incompetence is what I see women do when they go and get a ladder and a drill and try and use the power drill. Like,
or check the oil in the car.
because they want their husbands to do it for them. So they do it wrong on purpose. That's weaponized incompetence. But doing something different, all roads lead to all roads lead to Rome, and there's more than one way to skin a cat. So, which there's actually, did you know that that phrase was originally "there's more than one way to skin a catfish"?
No, I did not know that. See, look, you taught us something new. See, everybody.
And
All
that's
right,
why I study etymology for fun.
all right, we're about halfway through. So give us the light. Let me throw it. See, I got to get the stuff out. There it is. Show us some love. Give us the heart bombs. We're trying to get back on TikTok's good graces because they are throttling the crap out of the show and have been for a while. And don't forget, if you give a hat and mustache, Lindsay will have to go yee-haw. All right, close that down. So there was a question. Shit, it just moved on me. Hold on, wait one. Because it was about tipping. Hold on, I gotta go back a ways. Hey, there it is. Hat and mustache.
Yeehaw!
You know who sent that one, don't you?
Yes, I do.
Because he loves doing that to you. Hold on, I'm trying to find it. Oh, here's one in the meantime. Angel Warrior wants to know what's the worst way you've seen military vets who've seen combat be treated. I'll let you answer that one.
The worst I've seen them treated is told that it's all in their head and that they should just get over it.
Just get over it. That's
get over it.
It was no big deal. It's in the past. Get over it.
Or they get told that someone else has it worse, so you should be ashamed because you're making a big deal over nothing. And those are one of the few times when I hear people say that I am about close to committing, violence.
I have lost it on some of those people in the past.
Oh, I've absolutely yelled at them. I
just, I mean, again, I never served and I never, thank God, faced combat, but I know many guys that have. And, I know one guy they were in, I forget the city, was in Iraq. Him and his friends sat down to take a break. And a sniper took his friend's head off, and they were shoulder to shoulder. And he was told, basically, suck it up and get over it. The guy's gone. You're not going to bring him back. That's what he was told. Can you imagine seeing that? Put yourself in that position. Your best friend in the world, the man you have gone and literally gone into combat with, who has watched your back, his head vaporizes next to you. And you get told it's no big deal. Suck it up. It's criminal that happens to those guys. And yes, it happens to women too, by the way. And it's even more criminal that our government doesn't care either. I don't want to go too far down the rabbit hole, but that's my take.
So we have all types of military here, and something that even Mr. Squirrel has gotten teared up on. He's never done a tour in a live combat zone before, but he has been responsible for something called an angel flight, where they bring bodies home.
That's tough.
And you think that doesn't affect that? Now it's a different kind of effect, but it's still an effect. And then I've also seen pictures of my husband's plane, which is a very large plane, filled with them, not just one or two coffins.
Oh no, yeah,
we're talking dozens.
Yeah.
And you think that carrying those home don't have an effect on the people in the plane? I mean, it is a different type of trauma, but it is still something that affects you. And it's not just female therapists that tell them this, it's everyone. It's almost like it has become, in our culture, has trivialized it.
I've had vets tell me that the best therapy for them is talking to other vets who've been through it and just getting in a group. And I can't speak to this. I don't know. I'm going by what they told me. Just them getting together in a group and talking. That's the best therapy for them because they've all had the same shared experiences. If there's any vets on, let me know if that's true. Because again, I have no experience on that, but they say getting together and just talking, and I can't understand what that guy went through. I can understand it from an intellectual stuff, but emotionally, I wasn't that, right? I can go, okay, I can understand it, but I can't. you know, to have that happen and then get told basically to suck it up. And I know Steve asked, was it a female therapist? I don't know. It was somebody at the VA, though. I do know that.
But
That's sad.
and it's not just for our soldiers either. It's all men's emotions. I got one recently where a guy, I was sent this a screenshot where a man's wife had died. She had died of cancer. And he was a good-looking guy, and all of the girls were like, well, she's been gone for 5 years. Why don't you get over it and marry someone else? And he's like, I'll never marry anyone else. Oh, but you're so young, and you have children, and they deserve a mother. And his response was, they had a mother. And just all of the people in the comments that were telling him he just needed to get over it and move on. And then we have women who lose their husbands and they decide never to marry. Oh, that's so romantic. She's holding on to his memory. That's so wonderful. But the guy who does the exact same thing is, you should get over. But then if he were to get over it and marry again, well, why? And then they go after him for that. It's like guys aren't allowed to show any emotion that doesn't fit into society's perceived idea of what they should show.
All right, I found my other question, and it was smart ass asked it. So this goes way back. He said, when does this is totally off subject. When does tipping culture go too far? And is it bias against one gender over the other? I love that question. You first.
I am not going to give you a tip if I had to stand to get my food.
Okay. And do you think there's a gender bias?
Yes and no.
Okay.
So when I was a waitress, I typically got the same tips as everyone else. The only way I got more money is if I flirted. I had to put that effort in. Now, but the same is true for guys. So the guys who flirted with the females at the table or were just extra nice to them or flashed them a smile, they typically got better tipped. And the same with the women. So if there is a bias, I don't necessarily think there's an inherent bias, but there is a pretty privilege.
Okay,
there's definitely a pretty privilege.
Now I mean, it's been 40 years since I was a bouncer. I was not, so I didn't deal with tips, but I know in the bars that I bounced at, the women generally did way better than the guys. And a lot of it had to do with how they dressed. And some of these girls were beautiful, right? So their pretty privilege is definitely part of it. Getting back to the original question, though, is tipping culture gone too far? It is way too far now. Yeah. I mean, now they want you to tip for walking in and picking something up. No.
This is why I said that if I have to stand to get my food, I draw the line.
Now, let me give you the business side of it. There's a reason why that's happening from businesses. Because small businesses cannot afford to cover the salaries anymore unless they raise their prices. And then people bitch. When you own a small business, I'll use a gym, right? A fitness studio, let's say. You know, I mean, when I had a fitness studio, I charged $199 a month. And if I tried to go to $229, I wasn't getting any new people in, right? I paid our trainers really well. I was paying $17 an hour when minimum wage was 10. Okay. Plus they got bonuses, plus they got commission and all, making 50, 60,000 a year. And then, New York State wanted to up everything. They want it to be $20 an hour. There's no way a small business can make money that way. So one of the ways they do it is they start saying, well, if you get tips, then it doesn't count against the owner because he doesn't pay payroll taxes, Social Security. People think 15 an hour. Well, if any business can't pay 15 an hour, they shouldn't be in business. It's not 15 an hour. It's about 23 an hour in New York. That's what you're paying extra. But people don't want to talk about that. And they also don't want to pay the extra prices. So that's why we've moved into tips. Now you're going to go even further if they make tip income tax-free, which I support, by the way, right? It's going to make it even worse. we're creating a monster with this.
But but I
And
also
I
think that
go ahead.
they expect a tip just because it used to be that if you got a tip for good service,
Mhm.
and that if you don't give extra or if you don't give good service, you don't get a tip. I have walked away from tables. They're like, they didn't tip me because I haven't walked completely away yet, and we'll hear them complain, "Well, they didn't tip me," and I'll turn around and tell them, "said and you gave crappy service.
Yeah, I mean, I would never
Here's a tip. Do better."
yeah, I've never given nothing, but I do directly purport. I've had times where I've had beyond outstanding service, like way above and beyond. And I've given 30, 40, and 50% tips because they deserved it, right? Especially if you had a larger party and all that. There's been times when it's been crappy. I'll give 10 or 5,
I gave
and
a, I
then
gave, we went to I went to visit friends, and we walked into a restaurant that we were the last customers through the door because they had had 4 call outs. It's a little hole in the wall
mhm.
restaurant on the coast, but it was very popular. They had one waitress who was running around trying to serve like
Oh,
12 different tables. Like I said, they had 4 call outs. The owner was in the back cooking. That was it. So they had to close early because they couldn't early on a Friday night. They had to close early on a Friday night because they didn't have the people to support the staff. I think our total bill came out to 30. I gave her 100 and told her to keep the change because
I've
I
done stuff
watched her run around like a chicken with her
right.
head cut off. And despite the fact that she was overwhelmed, you could see it. She never was sharp with anyone. She never gave bad service, and she continued to do her job excellently. And I thought that needed to be deserved,
I have a
rewarded.
similar thing where not, they weren't closing, but they didn't have the staff. This was during COVID, actually, right? So their staff was all out. I went in, and basically there was one person behind. I guess it's what in the back of the house is that what they call it,
Mm-hmm.
one in the front, and the person was doing everything that she could, above and beyond. But people were getting pissed because it was taking forever and taking it out on her. And she was explaining, "Look, here's the situation." And another table near us did not tip her, and I saw that they didn't. So I tipped her for their meal because she went above and beyond. She could have just said, "F this, I'm going home," right? But she went above and beyond, and that's why I don't have a problem with tipping at all. But I think it's gotten a bit ridiculous. When you go to get an ice cream cone through a drive-through window and they want you to give a 20% tip, you're handing me an ice cream cone through a window. Sorry, no.
Or my overpriced coffee. I'm already paying for overpriced coffee
Yeah.
items.
So I mean, and that's where it is. It's gone too far, and the problem is the people that do deserve it are facing the backlash, right? Because I've never waitressed or waitered. I have been a bouncer. I see the hell that some of them go through. They deserve it, but you know, getting handed a slice of pizza in a box, no, I'm not tipping you for that. Sorry, that's just me. All right, you got a question? Because I got scrolled on again.
Oh yeah, I got scrolled on too. Although Sarah's being very active in our. My mouse died again. Hold on.
Kill the mouse, kill the squirrel.
Oh,
I won't tell you that airsoft rifles are really good for squirrel. Yes, like Durfee just said, Subway asked for a tip. No, you're you're getting paid to make my sandwich. Now, if it's super busy and they go out of their way to help me, all right, I might throw them a little something. But if I walk in and it's already pre-made because I pre-ordered it, no, sorry. But I also get the business side of it. The owners
I,
are trying to hand off the cost.
I get the business side of it, but I also think that it's become almost entitlement. I deserve a tip, and I'm like, well, then no.
Yeah, if you
Um,
expect a $10 tip for handing me an ice cream cone,
my
no.
favorite is at McDonald's when they expect a tip, and they've made my order wrong, and then
Oh, yeah.
they tell me, well, it's busy. I'm like, look, sweetheart, 20 years ago, I did your job better than you. And I bet I could still do your job if I was allowed behind the counter. I'm not giving you a $5 tip because you couldn't read no pickles.
Admission just said, and the fries are cold.
And the fries are
Um,
cold.
Yeah, see, now I manage the McDonald's. I started, I think I've shared this before. I started, here we go. The squirrel's back. Molly. See, now I have to be mean to my baby. I started on my 16th birthday making French fries, so my fries were warm. And at 22, I was a store manager. So I worked my way up.
I never made it up to store manager. I got
I was
married and
making
moved to Oklahoma before that. Eric was a Mr. Squirrely
I was
was
making
a
$40,000 a year as a store manager in 1984.
oh, I wasn't even born yet.
Yeah. I mean, and that's when minimum wage was like 3.25. I did well. But yeah, I mean, I have no idea what a McDonald's manager makes now, but plus I got stock options, which are worth a mint right now. So yeah. Buy if you join a company. I'll give you a piece of financial advice, and I'm not a financial wizard. And I guess I should say I'm not giving it, but save your income, kids. If you can get stock options at work, get them. Make sure you put into your 401ks and don't take it out so that you can be like me and retire at 59. Me just said, wait, they had potatoes back when Dan was younger. Yes, we had potatoes.
Great Irish famine. Come on, they've had potatoes for at least 100 years
Potatoes have
before
been
Dan.
around, and
Someone mentioned ducks.
ducks are delicious. Oh, sorry.
So
What the duck? I know you've shown me that before.
all right, well, not everyone knows this story. So my best friend's husband up the street bought 200 of these, and then at my birthday party last year, handed them out to people like they were handing out meth, and they hid them all over my house, and I'm still finding ducks in drawers,
I love
ducks,
that.
ducks in the teapot. I've not found them all.
I know where I would hide them in certain boxes in the bathroom. So every month you'd go and find a new one.
What the duck?
All right. So, we're at the 5:05 mark. Here, let me throw the thing up again. Show us some love over on TikTok. If you're on YouTube and Facebooky and all those other things, hit the like, hit the heart, hit the you know what to do. And let me take that one down. See, I'm playing with my new toys here. And then Hat and Mustache gets a yeehaw from Lindsay. Come on.
Oh.
So
Houston says he does not fit in the teapot.
Next on 60 Minutes, when ducks attack. That's what Alaska Dad in Texas said. No,
what the
family operation. I was gonna make a really bad one. Mind me later. I'll try and remember it. If you have any more questions, it's open mic, as we call it. Ask us away, or if there's a topic. Oh, we just got restricted for talking about ducks.
For ducks?
I'm not kidding. Your live is not eligible for recommendation.
For ducks?
For ducks, and we can't appeal either.
What the quack?
If you're on TikTok, the only way people are going to see, I'm just like, you got to be kidding me. Oh my God. Oh my God. The feminist came for our duck comment. So
did we think that was a euphemism for something, ladies? Because it was not.
You immature little children. There. I might as well get us banned. I don't give a shit anymore. Good Lord. If you are that pathetic that you had to report duck talk, as Alaska said, it's all quacked up.
I'm trying to figure out what
Here they come with all the ducks.
They have thought we were talking about that was not. The ducks are metaphorical for something. For what? The patriarchy?
Duck fuck. Get it? I don't care now. All right. So if you're on TikTok, do us a favor and share it, because nobody's going to know we're on anymore. It's just, this is what we deal with, guys, right? They cannot stand that we have a voice. This is how much they hate men. When you're at that point where you're trying to get someone banned for talking about having a duck in their house, you are pathetic. You are a loser. There.
Our friend Matthew says duck lives matter.
Keep them coming, guys. I don't care anymore. Ban me, TikTok. I don't give a shit anymore. The couple $100 a month I make off of you, I make that on one video on YouTube. So Bye. audience or you, Lindsay, has anybody heard anything on the TikTok ban? Because the 40 days is up, are going to be pretty quick here.
I haven't heard anything.
I haven't heard peep about it, one way or the other.
Although I have started.
Keep them coming.
I haven't
heard there's a buyer. I have heard rumors there's a buyer.
I heard rumors there's a buyer. No Aflac sponsorship here.
Yeah, Aflac can kiss my ass.
I haven't heard anything on the TikTok ban, but I have been noticing that my For You page has gone off. I'm getting the weird stuff. The stuff that you find, the bad stuff that you only find after 2 o'clock in the morning because nothing ever happens. Good happens after 2 o'clock in the morning. Nothing. It just shows up on my feed.
I did have nudity a couple weeks back show up on my For You.
Oh,
5 in the morning. I'm awake. I'm having a cup of coffee. I'm like, let me look at TikTok. So I scroll, and next thing I know, I got a pair of boobs in my face. I'm like, and they weren't even good ones. I mean, come on.
Yeah, that happens to Mr. Squirrel all the time. He'll be, and I've seen the videos that he likes. It's all funny meme stuff and Star Wars jokes. So, and then
Mark, you're right. Ducks are delicious, especially with a little orange sauce. Sorry, go ahead.
I prefer mint sauce on mine.
Smoked duck, chef's kiss. I mean, I'm like, of all the times they've come at us, to come at us for duck lives.
Ducks, all ducks until no ducks.
All ducks till it's no ducks. Keep them coming.
Ducks are oppressed.
Houston yes. Ducks. I thought that was banned in Texas. Oh my God. I just, TikTok, you're a loser company. You really are. I mean, if you're gonna ban us for just moving on. Keep them coming. Many got exposed and called out for having Meta stocks that vote for the ban. Yeah. It's funny too, because Zuck was on, I think we talked about this, Rogan 2 months ago, and basically was talking about certain things. And I have to say, I have noticed a difference on Facebook. I don't do a lot on Instagram. I mean, I post there and I scroll it every once in a while. But Facebook, I'm seeing comments on there that I know a year ago would have gotten somebody banned in there.
Oh, yeah. Well, hell, I've made a couple. I try and keep myself not PG because it's me, but at least not explicit. Although I did get accused the other day by a woman of being using excessively explicit language. So then I proceeded to curse her out in Old English instead. She didn't like that. And because I made her feel stupid. But look, if I'm going to get accused of using excessive foul language, I'm going to use excessive foul language.
Is that pun deliberated foul language? Duck,
yes.
Foul. It's what the duck, Lindsay? Come on. We might as well go all in on it, right?
When ducks a quack.
This is ducking crazy.
Oh,
we got a snort. Yes. Yes, there it is. Been a while. Country, I say I hate seeing bad honkers in the morning. Yeah, I know. I mean, if you can, never mind. I got to keep it somewhat clean.
What the flock are we talking?
What the flock? Yeah, I mean, you guys are on a roll now. Keep them coming. Give us the likes, give us the shares on TikTok because they're not going to show this to anybody now.
But see, this is what men do when they're taking the piss out of someone. They roll with the joke. Women get offended. So the video that I'm working on, that'll be my next one that goes up, is a year after Man versus Bear and Drizzle. I'm looking back and doing the kind of the history dive or whatever.
That one.
And there are people who still do not understand that it was a satirical movement. They're still up in arms, like, oh, what were they trying to accomplish? They were holding up a mirror to the women and going, look how dumb you look. And see, men don't. If men see an injustice, they typically attack it with humor, sarcasm, and a bit of a satiric. There's truth in the sarcasm because it's satirical. Um, but they're not going to get angry. They're going to make you laugh about it because humor is the great equalizer. Women are the ones who can't take a damn joke to save their life, and who get upset about it. And I was like, it's women might be a little bit more less insufferable if you would just let it go or laugh. You have to be able to, because you have to be able to laugh at yourself.
I don't know that they're capable of doing that.
I don't know. Some of them look pretty funny.
I mean, it's just, yeah, we got reported for foul play. they're letting them roll now. I don't know why, but I have the DuckTales song going through my brain rail.
Crouching Goose, Hidden Duck.
There we go. It was fun. Did you see the meme? Going back to the bear thing. So it's a big bear in the woods, and there's a bunch of women running away from the bear, and the bear's name is Accountability. When the bear's name is Accountability, that was brilliant. I wish I could take credit for it. I cannot, but
Houston Duck just said, thank you. Think about it, Lindsay. 2 women show up at the party wearing the same dress, mortal enemies. 2 men show up wearing the same suit, best friends. Exactly.
Oh yeah, we would laugh our asses off about it.
Because I would think it would be a compliment because, hey, you look good in the dress, I look good in the dress. Isn't the sincerest form of flatter, or imitation is the sincerest form of flattery? So I don't see anything wrong with that. I just, I also did a post on Facebook recently where they're talking about female oppression is the fact that, women can't wear the same dress to an award show. And the comment was, no straight man alive gives 2 flying ducks.
That was me.
If a woman wears the same dress
we don't care.
to an award show twice, who does care? Other women.
Yep. It's I don't know. I think this is a bit quackers, this whole thing, but
yeah, it is a bit quackers.
It was there. I had to do it.
It's duck season, rabbit season, duck season, fire! Yeah. Sorry.
No, bring them on. And the duck asked the Dan running the stand, hey, we are bringing one. Well, I'm trying to read all these, but yeah, Matthew said he can't give a flying duck. Neither can I. It's what the flock, I mean, that's the saying.
Addicted to quack.
I hope these feminists that reported us are listening still. We are mocking you, okay? Get the hint. Just mind-boggling. So, all right, we got about time trying to get us back on track, but it's not. I don't think that's going to happen. Quick quack-tac-toe. You guys are awesome, man. Keep them coming.
Oh my God. Okay, so Angel says sometimes the only choice a man has is what to get yelled at for. That is unfortunately correct. It's like, well, if I'm going to get yelled at it, I might as well get yelled at for doing the right thing or the moral thing or whatever, which is coincidentally why I've embraced the title Pick Me, because I'm going to get yelled at for it anyway, so I might as well let it work for me.
Did you ever get your shirt done?
Yes, I did get my shirt done, and I ordered it, and it still hasn't arrived. So.
Well, where's mine? No, I'm not kidding.
Speaking of things that are yours, so your Christmas present.
Hello. Excuse me.
I have to tell you this now before I forget. I bought you a Christmas present. I wrapped it. I gave it to Eric. He was going to mail it for me. I found it in the back of his seat of his truck. So you're getting it for your birthday.
Okay. Well, you didn't have to do that. Well, thank you in advance. Sorry, I'm getting text from somebody that I just got to check real quick. Anyway. I feel like I'm drowning in my own ducking problems right now.
I'm just reading all of the comments. Squirrel Dynasty instead of Duck Dynasty. Squirrel Dynasty.
Squirrel Dynasty. It's Duck the VA. That's what you got to laugh about it, right? But it tells you, by the way, what's the real takeaway? We're winning. Their only response is to come after us and try to shut us down. They cannot argue on merit. They can't. So this is the only response that they have.
When you, to borrow a Game of Thrones quote, when you cut out a man's tongue, you don't prove him wrong. You prove to the world you fear what he has to say. And that's what they're doing when they try and shut us up. If your position cannot stand scrutiny or withstand argument or withstand questions, then it's not a position, it's dogma. And it's raining again.
That's a great Supertramp song. Sorry.
If you lose me because the power goes out, I apologize.
Well, they may lose us because TikTok's going to ban us.
This is also true.
Hey, TikTok does. Oh, we're over on YouTube. We're over on Facebook. We're over on it. I don't think we're on Insta today. I didn't do Insta. I did X though. Start following us over there because it's not if but when.
I finally hit 500 followers on, I think, YouTube.
Yeah, you.
Yay!
No. Before I forget, because now you got me thinking. So I'm going to be. Well, next week Curtis is joining us to talk about something big. Hopefully, we can't give it away yet, but this close. And then I will have some other announcements on some stuff that's happening behind the scenes too. So stay tuned. I'll actually be doing for my private guys, my members of my Brotherhood of Men. I'm going to be talking about it later this week. So you'll get a video talking about some big stuff that's happening behind the scenes. A lot of good stuff coming. Things are changing, guys. They really, really are. I am seeing really good things happening, and people, men and women, are coming together, and we're going to start being heard, to steal from my own channel name. So, anyway, 10 minutes left. What else? Come on, guys. Oh, Angel just asked, did you ever find out what happened to my abuser? She died. I know that. I long ago let that go. So it's been 20 years since I've even thought about it. I do know I had heard she died a few years back. And I just leave it at that. It's not something I dwell on because, and this is what I try and teach people that have been through that stuff that are guys, is you have to process it. You have to deal with it. If you need therapy for it, hopefully you can find someone to do it. But at some point you got to say to yourself, I cannot let these people control me anymore. And that's what I did at about 40 years old. And it happened to me when I was 13, right? So that side of it. And then in the marriage, that was another one. My ex-wife has zero control over me. I laugh at her now. I mean, I haven't seen her in years, and nor will I hopefully ever see her again. You just got to go, enough's enough. And not easy. And for some people, that means getting therapy or whatever. And I encourage you to do that. But yeah, I mean, I can't let them win by being in my head anymore.
At some point you have to acknowledge that they don't have power over you anymore. So
I took power back is how I put it. Yeah.
I took the power back from mine by telling people about it. I can deliver the story now in a matter of fact rather than reliving it. And they're like, oh, well, you speak about it so casually. It's not casual. It's deliberate. There's a difference. But I decided a long time ago that I wasn't going to let him have power over me anymore. And part of him having power over me was being afraid to talk about it, or afraid to acknowledge it. Now I use it to help men and some women, but mostly men, because they'll ask me, well, what do you know about it? Or what do you know about this? Or you couldn't possibly understand. I was like, I do understand. I do empathize and sympathize with you. I may not be able to know your exact situation, but this is what happened to me.
Mm-hmm.
And let's talk about it in whatever way you want to. Sometimes I have one guy who has been, I started talking to him in high school, and we still exchange memes. We talk in memes. That is our whole relationship, is nothing but
Wrong with
memes.
that.
But we've been doing it for 15 years now.
Mm-hmm.
And the other day I got a message that wasn't a meme. I had to do a double take because I don't think he's ever sent me a text message before, ever. And he thanked me and said that was one of the reasons why he did not unalive himself.
Wow.
So, and I've gotten several of those messages throughout my life. And if I do nothing else, I will have accomplished that and I will have succeeded and done well. But that's the sort of therapy that men, or at least that he needed, was just someone to send stupid memes to.
And that's great that you were there to be able to do that, right? It's you never know to help someone, and it might be just looking at memes and trading them back and forth. But I do have a question for you, because it's something that I've been accused of too. Whereas, like you said, you don't really have a lot of emotion when you talk about it. I'm the same way. Do you think it's because giving emotion as part of it gives them power back? Because I do. That's for me.
Yes.
Yeah. And I was just curious if it was the same for you.
If I get emotional about it, if I get angry about it, then I am letting him back in my head.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm almost making him react. I'm giving him a reaction again.
Yeah.
And I'm tired of giving him that. I'm not going to do it anymore. So I almost sound detached when I talk about it. And
That's
then
what I've been accused of. Yeah.
And then I get accused of, well, it obviously wasn't a big deal for you because you can talk about it like this. I go, no, it was a very big deal for me, and I didn't talk about it for a very long time. But I healed from it. I didn't get over it, because you never really get over it. It becomes a scar. You're going to carry it for the rest of your life, but it no longer affects me in my day-to-day life. And I can usually tell when someone hasn't healed yet and it's still an open wound because of how they talk about it. And depending on the length of time elapsed from the event, I would approach those people differently. If it's recent, I'm going to be a little bit more cautious. But if it's an older wound, I'm going to sit there and say, look, your wound is still there because you keep ripping off the scab. Every time you try and heal yourself, you open it up again. You're allowing yourself to continue to bleed. At some point, you have to decide, do you want to get better? Because there are some people that don't. Their wound has become their identity. And it defines them, and they no longer want to get better. And in that case, if they answer me honestly, then I say, okay, well, then there's no way I can help you, because I'm interested in helping you heal, not in keeping it open.
And that's not judging them. That's just, at some point you got to say, there's nothing I can do. And I'm sure, again, I'm not a therapist, neither are you, but I'm sure therapists run into that same boat, right? Is you can only help someone that's willing to be helped. And that's not judging them if they are in that place. And I can understand why someone might, as can you, I know. But I always talk to guys that have been in my situation. I talk to guys in their 50s and 60s that are still dealing with it. And I understand it. I respect it. But I tell them, you've got to deal with it in whatever way that is, whether it's therapy or flipping a switch, although that's hard to do. Worked for me, though. Say, I'm not going to let that person control my life anymore. I'm going to take back control. And that applies to anything, abuse of any type. But some people can't do it, and I don't judge anyone that can't. So, all right, we only got a couple minutes left, and there was a question that came in that I wanted to really jump on, which is Mission Daylight wants to know, is parental alienation more common for men or women? We're both going to give the same answer, so I'll let you give it.
It is far more common for fathers to experience parental alienation than it is women. In fact, when it was first discovered to be a phenomenon, they called it malicious mother syndrome. Because it almost exclusively affected fathers. It does affect mothers. there are mothers out there, but there is a disproportionate amount of fathers that experience parental alienation than mothers, and that's because the system is designed to make the person, whichever parent is making more money, the weekend parent, and that is unfortunately still predominantly men.
Right now, I mean, I talked with Maddie of the Parental Alienation, Anti-Alienation Project about this year or so ago. And congrats to her, by the way. She had her baby. We were kind of guessing our way through it. We would put it probably about 3-1 men are the victim. More, by the way, it's children that are the real victim.
Yes,
but it's 3-1 fathers to mothers, roughly. And I think that's a fair number. And I much like abuse, I don't like including the gender too much in it because unfortunately, men are, if they get in that power where they can do it, they will do it to the mothers, and that's wrong. The person that's getting hurt in the end is the child, and I will never support anyone who alienates. I don't care if they're man, woman, or duck. So, all right, we do have about 2 minutes left. Why don't we do our little promos there, Lindsay? You go first.
If you like what you're listening to, please follow us on YouTube and Instagram and we have a Facebook page.
Facebook and X.
And X. We technically have a TikTok channel, but I still cannot get it. My husband is making faces over there out the window. He's doing inappropriate things in front of a glass.
I can tell you how to get him back.
I can get him back. I'm just on camera. Yeah. But we do technically have a TikTok channel. It is still there. I just cannot get a video to stay up for more than 10 minutes. It'll upload, and then I'll go back in as one of my others so that I can like it, and it's gone.
I have no answers. I'll try and upload one. We'll see what happens. Angel just asked real quick, Lindsay, have you ever thought of doing your own separate lives?
Yes. And as soon as my house is no longer a war zone, because I don't know if you can't tell, but the carpet has been ripped out of my office and it's just the floor. So, you'll see it on my next YouTube video, I'm sure. Yes, I have thought about doing my own lives, and I can get the balloons out. Yes.
You saw that too.
I did. It is on my list.
Yes, Molly, I hope you do some lives. I did one a couple of weekends ago. I'm probably going to do another one in the near future on a Saturday. It's just going to be me, and I did it as a lark. I was bored, to be honest with you, so I jumped on. I was only on for about an hour. Actually, I was going to only be on for a half hour. It ended up being an hour. But yes, I hope you do some live. Do. You guys like it when I say so? Do. All right, make sure you follow us everywhere. As Lindsay said, I got to show us some love up on TikTok because TikTok hates us. All right, another great show. Thanks for all the questions. Lindsay, go ahead and wrap it up.
All right, guys, that's all we got for right now. That's all she wrote. So we'll see you next week.